He had the badge, the credentials, the authority, was the one who should have been asking the questions. But that morning, in the wrong lobby, he became the suspect. You ever have one of those days where you're just trying to get through the motions, minding your own, and out of nowhere the ground shifts under your feet? That's what happened to Maya. That happened. Let me back up a sec. It was a Tuesday just past 10:15 in the kind of office building where even the fake plants look bored. The Fairmont Business Center in Arlington, Virginia rows of gray armchairs, coffee table magazines no one reads, and a front desk staffed by people who'd mastered the art of being present without actually being there. Most mornings, it's all silent glances and elevator dings. But today, the air had that static charge, like a thunderstorm was lurking just out of sight. Julian McCall walked in, not with swagger, but with the steady confidence of someone who's been through enough to know he belongs, even if nobody else seems to think so. He wore clean dark jeans, a crisp button-down, and carried a black laptop bag slung across his shoulder. He moved with purpose, nodding to the security guard out of courtesy, not expectation. No response. That's about what you'd expect. He stood near the wall, scrolling his phone, a Bluetooth earpiece barely visible, mumbling now and then, nobody close enough to catch what he was saying. To anyone who cared to look, he was just a guy prepping for a meeting. But not everyone saw it that way. Behind the front desk, Tara Bledsoe, new to the admin scene at Graybridge Analytics, squinted at him with that special brand of suspicion reserved for strangers who don't fit the silent script. She leaned toward her coworker, you know that guy, but got nothing but a shrug. Tara couldn't let it go. He's pacing, talking to himself. Looks off. She didn't know who Julian was, didn't care. Dark clothes, standing alone, Bluetooth her mind, clicked the puzzle pieces together, but the picture was all wrong. Instead of just asking if he needed help, she picked up the phone and called building security. We got someone acting suspicious. That's all it took, just enough doubt to get the ball rolling. Meanwhile, upstairs, Julian's contact at Graybridge was running late, having no idea that the next 7 minutes were about to stretch into something nobody in that building would forget. 2 Arlington County officers pulled up, responding to the call. Possible suspicious person, male, black, late 30s, standing in a lobby, talking into a Bluetooth might be scoping the place out. No mention of weapons or threats, but enough ambiguity to make sure it wasn't ignored. Officer Travis Denham and his partner, Officer Paulina Reyes, both not quite rookies, not quite veterans. Denham took every call like it might be his last. Reyes, quieter, liked to see the whole picture before moving in. Inside, Tara watched them arrive, arms crossed like she was bracing for her own vindication. Julian was just opening a PDF on his phone, still waiting, still in the dark. Into his mic, subject confirmed, location secured, waiting for contact. The doors opened behind him. "Sir, can we speak with you a moment?" Denham's voice carried across the lobby, sharp as a dropped glass. Julian looked up, puzzled but steady. "Sure. What's this about?" Mind stepping away from the wall. Hands visible. Julian blinked, had no panic, just that sudden twist when things go sideways. "I'm with the Bureau. Scheduled meeting." "Bureau of what?" "FBI," Julian said, reaching for his bag. "Sir, don't reach." Denham's voice cut through the room. Julian froze, hands in midair. "I just said, I'm grabbing my credentials," he replied, calm but clipped. Reyes edged closer, watching both men. "Can you set the bag down? Open it slowly?" Julian knelt, unzipped the side pocket. "Offer the bag. My badge is in there. Take it out yourself if you want." Denham's jaw clenched, not moving. "I'm here to meet someone for Graybridge, surveillance inquiry. You can call Agent Jennifer Rodas from FBI DC if you want to check." But they didn't call. Tara behind the desk just watched, silent. No explanation, no clarification, just tension thickening by the second. "Sir, we need you to sit on the floor, hands where we can see them." Denham's voice was louder now, bouncing off marble and fake ficus leaves. Julian lowered himself, never breaking eye contact. Meanwhile, upstairs, the elevator finally started moving. Julian sat on the cold tile, palms flat, his laptop bag untouched, tracking every movement where their hands hovered. How close they stood, the unsaid things loud as sirens. Tara fidgeted, already wishing she hadn't picked up that phone. Denham widened his stance. Are you armed, sir? Yes. Bureau issued Glock 19, concealed right hip. Credentials are in my bag. Still, Denham didn't check. He just watched, like he could will a confession out of thin air. Reyes moved left side zip, silver badge case, photo ID inside. She crouched, opened it. All real. Her eyes met Denham's, looks legit. Denham stayed rigid. Still need to confirm. Julian didn't flinch. You can call field ops. Or call Jennifer directly. She'll answer. Calm, but every word armor-plated. Tension didn't break, it doubled. Then the lobby doors opened again. 2 security guards, one old, one new. They stood silent, taking in the scene. A federal agent on the floor, 2 cops standing over him, a receptionist trying to shrink into the background. The older guard whispered to Reyes. She nodded. Julian shifted. Look, I'm not here to make trouble. I'm just doing my job. Reyes stood fully, badge case in hand. We should call it in. Denham just stared. 5 minutes gone felt like an hour. Then the elevator dinged. Out stepped Agent Jennifer, Rhodes Navy suit, red hair, FBI badge, coffee in hand, looking ready for a briefing, not a scene. She stopped, took in a tableau. Julian on the floor, cops hovering, lobby silent as a graveyard. What the hell is going on? Her voice sliced the room in half. Julian didn't flinch. Good morning, Jennifer. She strode over. Why is my lead investigator on the floor? Denham, flustered. Ma'am, we responded to a suspicious person call. Jennifer cut him off. This man is Special Agent Julian McCall. He's here with my full authority. You've got his badge in your hand. Why is he on the floor? Reyes. We were told he was behaving strangely. He said he had a weapon. We followed protocol. Jennifer's eyes never left Denham's. Did he resist? Threaten anyone? No. So a black man, Bluetooth in his ear, standing in a lobby, and you put him on the ground. That what we're doing now? Denham didn't answer. Julian stood up. 7 minutes, he said, dusting off his jeans. That's how long I sat there while you all decided if I was a threat or just doing my job. Jennifer's jaw was tight. You're good to go, she said to Julian, then handed Reyes her card. You can call me to confirm, but let me save you the trouble's been with the Bureau 12 years. More commendations than most agents get in 20. Tara stepped forward, voice barely there. Two just wasn't sure. Didn't want to take chances. Julian looked at her, not angry, just tired. Funny thing is, he said, I was standing right next to the directory. You could have just asked my name. But Jennifer wasn't finished. She turned to Denham, her tone calm but sharp. Agent McCall reviewed a personnel file, this morning a police officer applying for transfer to behavioral analysis. That file crossed his desk. Name was Travis Denham. Denham blinked, stunned. Excuse me. She nodded. You applied. Solid record. De-escalated a domestic call solo. Flagged for interview. And now here we are. Reyes shot a glance at her partner a moment, settling heavy as concrete. Tara retreated to her desk, shrinking with every step. Julian, voice steady. This is why we talk about bias. It doesn't have to be violent to be dangerous. Sometimes it's a phone call or a hand near a holster for 7 minutes while you wait for permission to exist. Denham, finally, I didn't know. Jennifer, that's the problem. You didn't want to know. You saw what you expected to see. No yelling, just 4 people, a lobby that felt more like a courtroom. Julian to Reyes, you read my badge. You knew it checked out. She nodded. I did, but I didn't push. I should have. Julian nodded, calm. We don't choose our tests, just how we handle them. The elevator dinged again. Graybridge's exec, finally arriving, looking around confused. Jennifer, we still doing the briefing? Julian, yeah, let's go. But before they left, Julian turned back to Denham. The only difference between you and me in this lobby was that I knew who I was. For the first time, Denham didn't seem like a cop, just a guy in a too big uniform. Reyes watched, thoughtful, maybe ashamed. Julian walked to the elevator, Jennifer beside him. Tara stood hidden, holding her phone like a shield. The doors closed. 7 minutes almost enough to ruin a career, maybe even in a life. Upstairs, business as usual, but the room felt different. Julian did his briefing, professional as ever, but you could see the weight on his shoulders, heavier than it had been. When the meeting ended, Jennifer handed him her keys. "You want me to walk down with you?" He shook his head. "I got it." She nodded. "Call you later." Downstairs, Officer Reyes was waiting, leaning against a column, arms crossed. Julian paused. "You waiting for something?" She took a breath. "I stayed because I wanted to say something. You were right. I saw the credentials. I let it play out like you were lying. Didn't ask why. Didn't challenge my partner. Just watched." "Julian, why now?" She met his eyes. "Because I don't want to be another person who sees the truth too late and just walks away." "Apologies don't fix much," Julian said. "No, but accountability starts with hearing yourself say it." She nodded. "I thought I knew what bias looked like. I didn't know it could wear a uniform like mine." "Julian, it was all kinds of things. Suits, scrubs, security shirts. Even sits behind reception desks." She half smiled. "Think Denham still has a shot at the Bureau?" "He does, if he gets honest with himself. The Bureau doesn't need people who carry power without understanding it." She nodded as Julian walked away, pausing only to add, "Tell him the interview's still on. But I won't be the one doing all the talking." Outside, the sky hung heavy and gray, the lot half full, and by the cruiser, Denham stood alone, arms crossed. Julian approached. "You waiting for something?" "Didn't want to leave like that," Denham replied, eyes on the ground. Julian let the silence linger. "We all have blind spots. In the Bureau, we study behavior psychology, but we forget those same patterns can live in us, too." Denham nodded, quiet. "I messed up." "Yeah, you did. But this isn't about protecting your ego. It's about whether you're willing to learn and keep showing up." "I still want the Bureau job." "Then earn it." Julian handed him a sheet prep questions for the interview. "Next time you walk into a room, don't just see what's there. Ask yourself what you might be missing." Julian walked away, keys in hand, leaving Denham holding a piece of paper heavier than it looked. Stories like this don't always end in shouting or handcuffs. Sometimes it's the questions we finally ask ourselves in the quiet that matter most. If you found yourself thinking twice about how you see others, how you listen, how you act, maybe this story did its job. Share it. Start the conversation. Because silence never made anyone safer.